Friends, greetings to you. We are continuing the review of Leonardo, and a very important moment in flexible and cool image generation is, of course, the correct choice of model and mode for this model. Today we will discuss a few custom models provided by the Leonardo developers. First and foremost, we'll talk about how to add them. By default, after registration, you do not have access to all models. To add the necessary ones, you need to go to this panel and go to Select Custom Model. Subsequently, proceed to the Models platform and select the model that appears interesting to you from the available options or choices. Today I am going to provide a review of the Anime Pastel Dream Absolute Reality Dream Shaper Model 7th version, featuring 3D animation style RPG5 Leonardo Vision X. And that is the entirety of it. These are the models that I tested, which traditionally give good results in a consistent manner. I am completely certain regarding them. Let us proceed. So I have a request for production. By the way, you can use this promo request in your tests and experiments. The requests are quite good, they show stable results. We'll create a cat astronaut. The cat astronaut. You'll find this request in the description below the video. Commence. As I mentioned, we should begin with 3D. Well, we should initiate with 3D animation style. We'll have an illustration mode everywhere, then we'll consider other modes. 3D animation style, vertical format, 4 images, 4 choices. Let's go. Once. Next model, Anime Pastel 2, next reel. Dream, the $1 absolute reality. Dream, dream. Dream is the absolute reality. Dream, dream. Game Shaper is my favorite 4. Leonardo Vision XL5, Leonardo Diffusion XL6, and the final RPG version 5. It is a total of 18 words. Each of these models is trained on different data sets and provides completely different variations of your images, despite the fact that the prompt is essentially the same. We've received the initial results for the 3D animation style model. The model name itself includes 3D animation style. So we are anticipating witnessing an animated 3-dimensional-like illustration, which is precisely what we actually received in the end. Quite adorable, friendly feline astronaut, crafted in a truly modern animation style that is undeniably captivating. It turned out pretty cool, and if you need about animated children's images, then I recommend using this model. Next we have Pastel Anime. Observe the cat's facial expression. Overall, the artistic style of the drawing is highly intriguing and exceptionally cool. This is genuinely a drawn story. Smudges are visible, particularly in the background area. Great detailing in the foreground. The face of the cat fits perfectly into the environment. So it is a full-fledged artistic piece of work. All of the images are cool, they look good. Moving on to the next. Absolute reality. Absolute reality implies the creation of images that are close to realistic. Generally, this is what we typically observe. In the prompt itself, there is an indication of multiple artists who work in a certain style or artistic manner. So all of this, including the expressive fans, strokes, and composition, is a product of the creativity and skill of these talented artists. If they were not present in the prompt itself, the image would probably be more static, realistic, and less artistic in nature. As we can observe, the image ended up being more realistic. The code is realistic in nature. Fabrics, draping, reflections on the helmet, hair, ears, everything looks great. To put it differently, this is also a completely satisfactory model for generating near-realistic images of this nature. The upcoming model is Dream Shaper. It is my preferred model due to its flexibility, as it allows you to capture both realistic images and more artistic ones. So you see this picture, you can simply take it and use it as a poster. Well, if there was a movie about a cat astronaut, then easily. Pay attention to how cool the smoke, dust, something like that appeared from below. Looks epic, looks cool. Behind is some huge ship or a fragment of some floating, levitating structure. Very cool picture. And with upscale and refiner, this image. The image will be nearly ready for its final use. Therefore, it appears cool. The muzzle is realistic. All the images are executed at a high level of quality. The next product in line is the Leonardo Vision XL. I lacked the time to thoroughly test it, but as evident, the outcomes exhibit dissimilarity from one another. The outcomes are considerably simplified, bearing a closer resemblance to certain unfinished ones that are still in progress. This model is not fully comprehended by me yet. However, perhaps in the future, I will discover a purpose for it. Next, Leonardo Diffusion Extra Large Size. Pretty cool and impressive. Impressive! He successfully solved this problem with his remarkable skills and found a cool solution. In contrast to earlier models, please observe the level of detail in the cat's face. There are vivid and distinct brush strokes present in this area. Interacts with the shadow itself. If in previous versions there was a rigid shadow from the helmet, here it interacts with the fur itself. Looks cool, looks expressive. For illustrative purposes, you can use it right here. I enjoy it. The subsequent and ultimate one is RPG 5. She also demonstrates good realistic outcomes. But in terms of sensation, she appears to be more like soap. That is not quite appropriate specifically for this particular prompt model. Perhaps for certain types of designs, like concept art of characters, this particular model will be of greater interest and hold more appeal to the audience. In my specific case, there are cooler outcomes. Thus, based on the model, we have defined a brief summary, starting with 3D animation style. I need a diary to document everything. When it comes to children's animation style, opting for this model ensures we won't go wrong. When we need a captivating anime story, our top choice is the Anime Pastel Dream. It is worth noting separately that if you create portraits of actual individuals, then in this model, they will take on the characteristics of anime characters with large eyes, small noses, and so forth. The following model is absolute reality. We select it when you require images that are close to being realistic. This model functions excellently with wool, functions excellently with fabric. Pay attention to the cool folds, draperies. So everything functions excellently for us. Cool and authentic reflexes manifest. Therefore, all you need to do is select this absolute reality model, proceeding to the subsequent one. Dream Shaper. As I've already mentioned, this is one of my favorite models that offer such flexible and realistic, while also providing artistic options at the same time. I suggest examining her closely. She is extremely often provides the outcomes that you require, anticipating, in addition to incorporating such an imaginative element, creative aftertaste from images. It is currently in existence. Additionally, the next one is also in existence at the present moment in time. I haven't understood her yet. I will come back with a more detailed review of this model. Leonardo Diffusion XL. She also, just like Dream Shaper, has unique features that set her apart. She is portrayed as realistic results, but still with experiencing such a sensation of being chopped. They're greater, uncompromising, as if an artist composed these images in such a small group of soldiers. Impressive motions, transparent. The sense of depth is strongly experienced. Analyze, I advise, to this model. And the last RPGM5, in the current promotion, she showed the outcomes are not the best. So it is advisable to try, test, and experiment with prompts that will be aimed at creating concept art characters. In this task, RPG 5 is expected to perform exceptionally well. And in conclusion, let me extract the results that appeared intriguing to me. I will now choose between Dream Shaper and So Where It Is. Here is Leonard Diffusion. Leonard Diffusion is awesome, I agree. Let's take Leonard Diffusion and run through all the modes that are available to us in the Alchemy mode of operation. So Leonardo DiCaprio, we generate anime, we are in anime mode, we create captivating animated content. Once, the aspect ratio of the image has once again undergone a change, so I will switch it back to its original vertical orientation. Cinematic, 2, creative, 3, speaker, some dynamic mode, 4. I will skip general because he is actually such a standard and he practically does not make any changes at all. Illustration number 6 and photo number 7, ray tracked 8 and 3D render 9. Please note that these are the correct numbers for reference. And the ultimate mode I would like to test is Sketch, BW, which stands for black and white. Therefore, it would be ideal for us to obtain a black and white sketch as per our requirements. Commence his ultimate launch. Scroll down to view. Surely a few of our images have already been rendered and are ready for display. So not even a single one. Let's have a look. Leonardo diffusion in the style of anime. No explicit anime. If we chose anime based on dream style and added anime, we'd see a clean, somewhat realistic anime picture. Next, cinematic. We got a more realistic result. More realism. Please pay attention to such a contrasting, dramatic color, as if there are truly cinema spotlights beyond this captivating image. The results are cool. You can use them again in film production, in posters. Next, creative mode. The creative mode reminds me honestly of the feelings from a photo studio, especially the second picture. Here you can clearly see that there are reflexes in the reflection of the helmet itself. These are soffits. These are soffits with soft boxes. The feeling is really like some kind of studio shooting, and there is still light behind, because without it we would not have bright highlights on the ears. In other words, creativity. I can conclude that this is something like a near creative, as if it were an image made by a photo studio. Next, looks cool, dynamic. She is not so realistic. She looks more like digital art, like digital. In which we have explicit graphic objects. You see on the background it's purely a digital illustration, so expressive with small details, spots, and a slight sense of grunge. The cool mode looks really interesting. The next mode is environment. With this mode I often experimented with the technique. Imagine the creation of cars, the construction of buildings, and how it contributes to a sense of a more engineering-focused approach in both industries. Unlike prior generations, we lacked any internal space, near space, that would correspond to our request. Here it appeared. Here are some rounded doors, some devices, objects, wires. Such a more specifically technical approach. Therefore, if you need equipment, you need wires, you need high-tech, use environ. The following illustration, well, as I anticipated, illustration, it appears to be an illustration. We have already moved away from realism. We have a grunge background here, and there are strokes, and in some places outlines of objects appear on the character himself. So this is merely a digital illustration, photograph, once again as anticipated, just as expected. Realistic approach, realistic textures, fabrics, light, reflections. Everything that corresponds to our understanding of photography. It turned out great. Withdraw. We observe that the image is not completely realistic. It's like it's bordering on a photo with the addition of 3D rendering. It is quite cool that the fabric of the suit has transformed into a more plastic material, resembling perhaps even latex. These are the types of quite harsh reflexes that are currently being discussed and mentioned. The image looks fresh, clean, but it falls just a little short of achieving the level of photorealism expected. She feels it, similar to digitization, first Roman numeral, artificiality. However, it seems interesting. Our second to last mode is the 3D rendering mode, and in this case, I would probably argue that this mode seems straight, 3D render, opposite prior. The ray tracked mode seems bigger, more digital, and more prominent. Licked and clean, similar to a neat and tidy rendering. It more as if it is realistic, and at the same time here are the folds. They say that it still looks like a 3D render. Our most recent model is a black and white Sketch K, currently in development and set to be released soon. Unfortunately, this mode apparently not to the end. Reacting to the fact it should be monochrome, thus a recommendation will be given. In the next vids, learn how to handle the color in your images. But we see that this is close to a black and white image. It is quite graphic. The sensation that we are observing mixed equipment. Here is mascara, here is a pen, it seems that there is a marker. Mixed technique, modern technique, seems to be quite relevant. Seems to be quite interesting. I find it intriguing and engaging. Therefore, buddies, resume. Personalized models that you will come across in Leonardo address a vast array of tasks and challenges. Do not forget about the modes of use, and of course, about Alchemy. Alchemy is only available on the paid version of your account. If you are still experiencing problems with paying for your Leonardo account, please write in the comments. If a mechanic is required, we'll implement it. Thank you for your attention and see you in the upcoming videos.